Hey, what's up guys? John here. Something landlords are not talking about is that evictions are starting to really skyrocket and things are going to really start to heat up across commercial and multifamily real estate, and single family landlords are also walking into a world of hurt as the economy is completely getting rechanged and restructured. I believe what we're going to start to see next is going to blow your mind. I'm going to lay it out for you clearly in this video, supported with facts that I'll leave in the show notes below. Please hit the like button. When you hit the like button, YouTube is going to share this content to educate more people about what's really going on. And if you'd like to fix your credit, to position yourself for massive success in this ever-changing world, we'd love to help fix your credit and help position you for financing so you can invest in distressed real estate at greatcreditfast.com. Now take a look at this. Eviction filings are up 50% from pre-pandemic, and in some cities, as rents rise. Now look at where this is picking up. So the Williams family is among millions of tenants in New York State and Las Vegas who have been evicted or face imminent eviction. And here's where it is. So eviction filings are more than 50% higher than they were pre-pandemic average in some cities, according to the Eviction Lab, which tracks filings in nearly 36 cities. In 10 states, landlords file around 3.6 million evictions every single year. Among the hardest hit, Houston, where rates are up 50%, 56% higher in April, and 50% higher in May. In Minneapolis and St. Paul rose 106% in March, 55% in April, and 63% in May. Nashville, up 35% higher, and Phoenix 33% higher in May. Rhode Island was up 32% in May. Now, when you start to look at what is happening right now, it's very, very clear. It's very clear. Look at this. So the latest data mirrored trends that started last year, with the Eviction Lab finding nearly 970,000 evictions filed in locations that track 78.6% increase compared to 2021, when much of the country was following the eviction moratorium. By December, the eviction filings were nearly back to pre-pandemic levels. Now, think about how this works out. We're seeing record high inflation. We're seeing an affordability crisis in this country. And we're seeing a mania that we just left with multifamily and single family real estate investing, where people are buying properties at 3% or 4% mortgages and buying these properties that barely cash flowed in the fear of inflation. They just wanted to invest in real estate. But now what are we starting to see? Rents are starting to soften, and we're starting to see a lot more problems with collecting these very, very high rents. Now, how is this going to play out when we start looking at student loans that are going to start to become due again in September? September 1 is the date that interest will begin accruing on federal student loans. Since 2020, interest on federal student loan balance has been zero. October is the month when those federal student loans will be required to start making payments again. So we're going to start seeing inflation continue to get out of control. We're going to see more and more costs begin to weigh on everyday Americans. We're going to see more and more defaults. Without question, we will see more and more defaults. And people are going to choose to feed themselves before feeding their landlord. And when you have a landlord that bought a property with a 3% mortgage, now looking at mortgage rates around 7% and seeing a softening market, what are they going to do? They're going to try to rent out their units if they can. They're going to try to hold on for dear life. And what I think many landlords are going to start doing is offering incentives. First month, the last month free if you give 6 months up front or 3 months up front. They're going to start doing things like they did in March, in April 2020. When things hit the fan, that's what they're going to start doing. The landlords that can will. And the landlords that can't are in big, big trouble. But they have a solution here to protect these tenants, which is going to make things so much harder for landlords nationwide that are in a tough spot, which is many of them are. And I've been warning about this on this channel, saying that what a lot of landlords and what a lot of investors are not paying attention to is the fact that the entire book is getting rewritten. Everything is changing. And the landlords have been the enemy. They're enemy number one. They talked about it with the inflation data, saying 70% of the problem of inflation is because of landlords and property owners. Now, whether you agree with it or disagree with it, that's the facts. They say 70% of the issue is because of property owners. Now, when you look at what the White House just put out, this is on their website. I'll scroll down here so you can see whitehouse.gov. It says the White House blueprint for the Renter Bill of Rights. Now, if you scroll down here and you look at evictions, So you look at the evictions, and the evictions, they state, let's see here, eviction prevention, diversion, and relief, right? So you scroll down here, it says renters should be able to access resources to help them avoid evictions, ensure the legal process during the eviction proceedings is fair, and avoid future housing instability. To prevent evictions, renters should have access to just or good cause eviction protections that are required and justified and cause to evict a tenant, and tenants need to receive adequate notice if their lease is not being renewed. Renters should be able to avoid an eviction filing through alternatives to the eviction system, such as eviction diversion and grievance procedures that prevent formal legal proceedings through negotiation, mediation, and arbitration. Resolutions from these processes could include a grace period for a late rent, the ability to preserve tenancy through curing the lease violation and paying rent or correcting the violation, access to a standardized formal dispute resolution process prior to litigation, and opportunities to meaningfully participate in pre-eviction diversion programs. So what does this mean? More cost for the landlord, less power over their property for the landlord, and more opportunities and more flexibility and more protections for the tenant at a period in which many landlords simply can't afford it, and neither can the tenant. And so what are people going to do during desperate times? The tenants don't have much money. They're not going to pay, right? They're going to lean on the protections, right? So we're going to see a lot of landlords leave this business. I promise you. We're going to see a lot of landlords leave this business. Look at this. So this is again White House. They said that they want to look at the numbers here. They want to provide funding to build on the Biden administration's unprecedented eviction prevention, diversion, and rent relief programs' advanced effort to end homelessness and make progress towards President Biden's goal of reducing homelessness 25% by 2025. Now, you have evictions skyrocketing. You have commercial real estate in very, very big trouble. And you have this movement towards ending homelessness, reducing it by 25%, which is a big ask. I mean, to ask to remove 25% of the homelessness problem in a year and a half is that realistic? Well, I guess we're going to find out. What does this really mean? It means there's going to be a lot more pressure put on landlords. That's for sure. It's going to be a hell of a lot harder to evict. I'm not saying in the short term, but I'm saying that's where we're headed, right? If these are the goals that they're discussing, this is what's on the site, this is what the conversation has been, that landlords are the ones that are pushing people to homelessness. Well, I think that landlords that don't have flexibility, they don't have equity, they are running on very, very thin margins, those landlords are going to be walking into a world of hurt, especially as Jerome Powell continues to increase interest rates, and he believes they're going to continue to go up. Now, are they going to go up? I guess we're going to find out. We're going to see. But based on the current valuations of these commercial multifamily properties, most of the investors that purchased over the last few years, they're upside down. They are upside down, and they're not going to be able to weather this storm. But there's a curveball that's coming to the housing market that nobody's talking about except for me on this channel. I've been talking about this for a while because this is going to be so big, and this is going to play such a large role in real estate and expenses. And I always talk about having equity, not running things, razor thin, not pulling out all your equity, not putting yourself in a very dangerous position, putting yourself in a place where you can pivot and move with the times. That's what it's about. Being able to pivot through the hard times and grow during the good times. But look at this. So if you look at who is moving in this direction, they have right here on this article. It's actually here. So you have Camden Property Trust, which is a large landlord. Equity Residential, Sam Zell, one of the largest landlords in America. Hilton Hotels, Hudson Pacific Partners, Invitation Homes, they own just under 100,000 homes. Ivanhoe Cambridge, another huge player. Kimco Realty Group. I mean, you have MGM. You have all these different players that are all jumping in on this. And they say, but financial investors and institutional investors also get that this is one of the biggest opportunities. It's a generational investment opportunity because unlike 20 years ago, this is imminent. Real estate firms have to decarbonize. Now, it's not just the real estate firms. I'll leave at the end of the video a link you can click to view a video where I break all this down. But this is what's going to happen. These landlords, it's going to be hard to evict. There's going to be much more cost, and they're going to have a hard time refinancing in the coming year or two. But they say it's about to become a retrofitting industry. Who admits that $500 million fund is a drop in the bucket against what he says is going to be an $18 trillion expenditure to decarbonize commercial buildings alone, never mind homes and infrastructure. Now, in that video, I referenced whitehouse.gov and all these different government websites showing you exactly how this kind of plays out. But long story short, real estate's about to change. Real estate is about to change. And the rules to the whole game are getting rewritten right now. But I do think there's going to be big opportunity for smart and savvy investors that are well positioned. They understand the rules of the game that is going to be coming, and they're paying close attention to landlord-tenant laws. You know, me having been an investor in Los Angeles, if you don't know landlord-tenant laws in your market and you're investing, I mean, that's a fool's game. Like, you need to know these laws. You need to understand the direction in which your state and your jurisdiction is running it. Because if they are moving in a direction where they're pushing forward radical tenant protections and you are operating as a landlord there, you're putting yourself in an additional place of risk. And I think that in this environment, I think that unless the deal is that incredible, it's not worth taking the risk. So pay attention to this. What do you think about the entire situation? Drop below, hit the like button, subscribe here, add me on Instagram for content you're not going to get anywhere else. And if you need help fixing your credit, we'd love to help you at greatcreditfast.com. That's greatcreditfast.com. Schedule a free consultation and we can see how we can serve you. And catch you guys in the next video.